Good evening. Welcome to Combe TV. Welcome back to Combe TV. I do apologise. I should have done one last week previewing the Autumn Classic, but I'm not going to lie. I was a mixture of unwell, starting to become unwell, and all sorts going on with work, and really sadly lost a very close friend of mine to the dreaded cancer. So I was not in the right place to do it. Am I now? Who knows? But we're going to go for it anyway. Dilly dilly, gin gin. We're going to go for it. We got a fabulous night. That's what Craig, what's that? That was a mug, wasn't it? That was a mug. I'm trying to work out what a couple of me guests have got in there. That looks like a colostomy bag for Kipo. I don't know what he's got there, but we got plenty on the go. I got stuff falling on the floor now. I don't know what it was. It was my phone. That's okay. Professional start, I know, isn't it? Fantastic. But we have a stupidly busy show. I mean, talk about diving off the deep end. We really do. I think at the moment it's looking like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 guests coming on in various slots as we go. And we're going to be previewing everything that's happening this weekend at Grand Finals Day. There's plenty more that I'd have liked to have gone that we haven't. Some that we'll probably have to get in for a show next week or week after or whatever, like post grand finals. And we certainly want to have a proper chat with those that are crowned, because that's what this Saturday is all about. It's our champions are going to be crowned, and it's going to be a fabulous day. Let's quickly check in to see everybody that's piling in. Welcome to everybody. Leon Callahan, hi to you too. Our very own Emma Strawford said, good evening, friends and Combe family. That's what it's all about. And Craig Cook, who will be on in a minute, is chatting back as well, saying, evening, Emma Strawford. Tim Perry, one of our mighty Orange Army. Hello, May. Evening, everyone. Dilly dilly to you all. So here we are at the final race meeting of the year already. Where has this year gone? I agree. That's just bonkers, isn't it? I still can't get my head. I mean, I've still got plenty of events left to go yet and what have you. The big thing is, though, don't forget, it might be the last race meeting. We've got Halloween Action Day yet to come at Castle Combe. And we've got the big awards due on the 12th of November. He says, just grabbing it. I should know it off by heart, but my head's frazzled at the minute, as I said. What is it? Yeah, Saturday, 12th of November. Underneath Concord in Bristol. It's going to be amazing. It's not just the drivers that are there. It's not just the champions. This is a big 70th anniversary for Castle Combe Circuit. We're already, I think we're nearly at 300 people are going to be there. It's going to be massive. It's a big stage, big screens behind the stage, twinkly lights on the wall on the background, Concord above us. We're hoping to have cars that are going to be there, that have really featured in our championship. They're going to have a nice place as well behind the tables, just to really make this special. Big tables of 10, I think, is the maximum per table. And I can't wait to host that and just have a great celebration of 72 years. But of course, a certain pandemic got in the way, didn't it? But 70 years. We're going to then get celebrated. Kipo's just confirmed it's Iron Brew in his colostomy bag or whatever it was he's got it in. I love it. So that is coming Saturday the 12th. Jump on to the ccracingclub.co.uk website. Get tickets. We've not just got champions and their teams and everyone else. We've got various marshals, whole load of marshals, people that haven't necessarily won but have been racing that are there. We've got spectators that are going to be there. We've got dignitaries and we've got special guests, all sorts. It's honestly, I cannot wait. It's going to be an absolutely bonkers night. Jump on. There's loads of information, and the race program on Saturday, I'm sure there will be as well. I cannot wait. Talking about couldn't wait, Emma couldn't wait to get the French Red open, and she's got the glass on the go. Martin Bennett, evening, Martin, co-commentator. He's going to be over in the old paddock commentary box on Saturday with me. We've both got to do some quick maths. I say both. We're going to be relying on Clive Woodward, who's going to be in the media centre and doing the interviews, hoping that he's doing some quick maths just to make sure we understand who's champions and what have you. Craig Tompkinson says this will do for the drive home. We try our best, mate. We try our best. I still can't believe it. I think we're still not seeing your Nova, are we? But I see a Swift being bought out and all sorts, isn't it? Was that you? I think I saw that post recently. Amazing. Let's have a look. Chris Mason. Good evening, all from Avik, Duffy's, Emma, Chris, and of course, Doggy's biggest fan, Joshy. Joshy's there. Hello, mate. All sat in a hot tub in Sherwood Forest. I didn't need to picture that, Mason, did I, mate? You've just ruined it. I'm going to have to rinse my mind out with another gin. Gin, mate. Gin. Steve Rideout, one of the mighty mini crews by my recollection. Yep, Craig's just nodding in the background there. Looking forward to the last round. It's so good to see you guys back with us for that. It's going to be brilliant. Ian Jones says, hi, Chris. Looking forward to tonight. Hoping you mentioned the legend Nick Mizzen quite a bit. Absolutely delighted to see that Nick Mizzen is back, and he knows he gets lots of mentions from me. He's, went through a torrid time for several years and really is an advocate of family Combe and just how tight-knit we all are. Me and the wife, Nick's daughter, sat watching. Is that as in Nick's daughter that you message me occasionally, don't you, to give shout-outs for Nick? Keep them coming because my memory's all over the place with everything that we got to do on a race day. So make sure you keep them coming, and welcome, guys. Both looking forward to Saturday and seeing him out again where he belongs and made so many memories. 100% for so many of us, without question. I don't know what you're saying, Kipo, in your comment. I'm not going to read that out in case I'm going to get myself in trouble. Dan Williams says, evening, buddy. Hope you're okay. I'm doing okay. Thank you, mate. Thank you, buddy. Matt Parr. Good to see Matt Parr's going to be back out. I'm saying that. I haven't looked at the latest entry list, but I knew you were due to be out. Evening all. Good to hear you're okay, Chris. Thank you, mate. Gerald Howe, happy birthday for the other day, buddy. Evening all. Tim Perry says, no worries, Dorsey. Understand. Glad to see you here tonight. I'll always try, mate. I'll always try. Lewis Bird, evening, Dorsey. I'm really looking forward to getting back out on Saturday. It's going to be fun. Dilly. I haven't looked, mate. Are you out in the Mini or are you back in your original car? I think it's going to be the Mini, isn't it? Because that's what you were going to do the other day and have a cracking race with your dad. Goose from the Quarry Hardcore says, evening from a suffering Goose with backache, hopefully being sorted tomorrow. Fingers crossed, mate. Let's get that sorted. You're too old for that bedroom gymnastics, mate. Cut it out. It's done. Darren Duffield. Hello, mate. Good evening, everybody. Pete Spiller says, evening, Mr. Dawes, from all at Spiller Towers. We look forward to seeing you there, mate. Martin Bennett says, evening number 1, evening number 2. And that's not insulting. He's over in the second commentary box. Kipo, now I can see him, but I'm going to put it up there. Evening all. You can say it in person in a little while as well. Well, I say in a little while, in an hour, mate. There's a lot of drinking of Iron Brew to go yet, mate. Is it alcoholic Iron Brew? They do that now, He's saying no, Your Honour. Good evening, everyone, from Castle Combe Racing Club. I would imagine that's our very own Kat that looks after you brilliantly. What a fabulous first year that Kat has had, hasn't she? Mike Wheat, James Keeping's going to own this weekend. No pressure, mate. No pressure. Okay, so I will read it out. Kipo said, please ban Dave Cooper from any motorsport events in the UK. That's what I was nervous about reading out. He says, because every time he watches, I crash. But you've only crashed once, haven't you? That's a bit harsh, isn't it? That's a bit harsh. Twice. Oh, he's done it twice. Okay. Either that or he just swore at me. I don't know. Tina Weston. Hi, Tina. Evening all. Looking forward to Saturday. Going to be a busy day for the hot hatches. Absolutely. I'll be honest and say selfishly, I'm dead chuffed. It's a double header. I cannot wait. And the entry list is massive. I'm just so excited about it. Julie Atwood, that's Kieran Atwood's mum. Kieran has been so good in the Formula Fords this year. Absolutely amazing. As she says, hi, everyone. Looking forward to Saturday. Dilly, chin, chin. Well, as you insist, Julie, I will. I'll be with you in a minute, Craig. You sat there patiently, mate. Joe Hathaway, evening all. Hope you're all well. The 3-cylinder Saxo is finally finished. A faultless test day today with some respectable lap times. Bring on the weekend of racing. That's wonderful news, mate. Wonderful. Bad news, Kipo. Dave Cooper says, don't worry, James Keeping. I'll be there watching. Nothing I can do, mate. Nothing I can do. Although you're not on your own, Kipo, trying to stop him from coming. They're all trying. Graham Shepherd says, looking forward to the weekend finals. Our very own Dave Vass says, hi, Chris and everyone. So I'm going to have to miss Saturday's finals meeting. Mate, I'm sorry to hear. Suffering from sciatica. Get well soon, mate. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Tune into TSL, don't forget. TSL-timing.com, and you will be able to press play at the bottom of the timing screen for our event, and you'll hear the commentary on there. So that's how you do it. Alex Watson, sorry, I can't speak. Hi, Dorsey. Looking forward to Saturday. I'm working on Nigel Mustel's Volvo S60 and can't wait for Craig Dolby to blast it round again. Alex, you're not alone. I have to say, I am super excited about seeing that monster go round, driven by a rather good driver. That'll be interesting to see. Carl Auden, evening all, evening, mate. Good to see you there. Jeff Cusworth, thanks for the reply earlier, Dorsey. Much appreciated. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take that as the opportunity to say this bit very quickly. Is that, and I've got it on paper to make sure I don't forget, thanks for your note, Jeff. I did know, but it was really handy, is that on Saturday, I don't know whether we're going to be able to interview him on mic or not because he's up at Quarry Corner, but Martin Shoulders is retiring after 60 years of marshalling. He will be the post chief up at Post 4, which is up at Quarry on Saturday. He was that dedicated to the Orange Army that he even missed his own brother's wedding because it clashed with his calendar. I'm not sure we're painting him in a good light there, if I'm honest. But it does show the dedication. Has marshalled all over the country and started at Snetterton and Crystal Palace. Wow, I'm so gutted that I missed all the Crystal Palace racing. But Martin Shoulders, from every single one of us, racing drivers, racing fans, fellow Orange Army, spectators, everybody, we know we salute you and thank you for 60 incredible years. You're an absolute hero. Everybody knows that I see the Orange Army as absolute heroes. Sir, please enjoy your retirement and make sure you come back and watch. Enjoy it in a more relaxed environment. Hey, let's get it sorted. You can even come up and join me in the commentary box next season at some point and see it from a slightly different angle to where you're used to. But thank you and happy retirement, mate. Peter Manson says, new to Combe as a trainee rescue, made really welcome and loving the camaraderie here. 100%. Everybody says that, and it's what I fell in love with as well. It's such a wonderful place. That's why Combe TV exists. Anybody who knows, it started when lockdown 1, the very first one in March 2020 came, is Sam Preston and Tom Davis decided it would be a good idea, collared me. They've managed to get out of it now, haven't they? But I haven't. But no, it was all about bringing family Combe together, as you heard our very own Emma Strawford say right at the beginning. Family Combe. Alan Hamilton, dilly, mate. Looking forward to a great show. I hope so, mate. It's going to be a busy one that I'm already putting myself behind schedule, but I'm trying. Brian Solu, evening. Still at Combe after a good day's testing. That's the important thing, mate. A good day's testing. You're always busy with a whole load of cars. Kieran Simmons, another one of the boy band boys. Evening all. We've got to see you back in that Fez soon, mate. You got to be back out there. Mike Cotton, evening all. Sorry to be late, mate. You're welcome here at any time, and you know it. I'm just always chuffed that you joined us. Looking forward to Saturday. After holiday got in the way of Autumn Classic. Well, we did notice, Mike. We did. But welcome back and have a fabulous one. There we go. Brian Soul just corrected it. Oh, let's quickly check. Sorry, it's refreshing. Good evening, all and Chris. All and Chris. So I'm not all. Keep smiling, mate. You know me. Comedy is the best medicine. There's a few exceptions in there, I think, but it works enough for me. Dilly, I made it. Tuning in from the Aegean. Yeah, you said you weren't going to make it, Jed. Can't be with you all in the grand finals. Have a fab, safe race day. And you have a fab holiday, mate. Enjoy it. Tim Perry says, can't wait to see these people and the Mighty Mini. So happy to be seeing them for their final meeting of their championship. Absolutely. They started with us. They'll be rounding out their season with us as well. Lee Waterman, evening all. Evening, Lee. Emma Brown says, evening, everyone. Dilly. See you Saturday. Looking after the Formula Ford crew. Phil Martin, good evening all. Dom Hazel, who'll be with Emma as well. Evening all. Emma and I are just in Pizza Hut. We will be online soon to join you all. Well, I think we'll let you off, kind of. I think Craig just got upset in the background there, to be honest with you. Yeah, you're being kicked out of the show by Craig there. Always keeping people waiting, says Tim. Alex says, hi, Dorsey. Not missed a single race meet this year and cannot wait to be there on Saturday. Part of the Quarry Massive. Welcome, Alex. And good to see that part of the Quarry Hardcore is growing again. John Ford, 40. Evening, Chris. Hello, mate. See you on the weekend. I'll be back up in the commentary box this time. Matt Coyle from the Saloon Championship. Can't wait for the final in the Saloons. Welcome back to a couple of legends trying to work out who has done the most laps at Castle Combe. Let's go racing. Yeah, let's go racing instead of doing maths, mate. Come on. Emma Strawford says, you love it, Dorsey. 100%. Lisa Taylor says, good evening, Mr. Dawes. Good evening, Lisa, and I hope you're better. I didn't get to see the full details, but I saw there was a post where you're feeling pain. I think you've had a bit of an operation. Much love, and get well soon, darling. Ian Cowley says, good evening, Chris. Looking forward to back-to-back race weekends at Combe. 100%. Had a great day spectating the Autumn Classic and eagerly anticipating finals day. Minis will be the highlight for me, but looking forward to the conclusion of the home championships too. See you on Saturday. See you there, mate. See, Dom's justifying it now. I've got a new job and only just finished. Got to grab some tea somehow. I'll bring the new gin this time. Oh, you got a new gin, have you? We're playing gin tennis at the moment, aren't we? Back and forth with each other. And Emma, last message then. Emma says, better than me having to miss it completely. As first thought, due to staff meeting, she was going to miss it. Championship coordinators need to eat while we have chance. Eating's cheating, Emma. Eating is cheating. You know it. Right, without further ado, I'm going to bring him on. He started his real-life commentary career, and I was really honoured that I was the first person he got to work with, and we're about to round out his season working together again. He's really going from strength to strength. A couple of hiccups personal, but we got you, buddy. We've got your back, brother. And it's so good that we're going to see him. He's getting better and better. He's been doing the sim commentary, and he's got to go and do another one at 8 o'clock tonight, hence he's the first guest. It's the expert for the Mighty Minis. It's Craig Cook. Good evening, mate.
Hello. How are we doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well.
Good, man.
On time, isn't it?
I know it really does seem that way, doesn't it? Because yeah, there's been a whole lot of racing going on in between, hasn't there?
Oh, massively. Yes, it's been very entertaining. I think the word is, and I don't think it's never not been entertaining, really, has it? Ever since they've been started.
Let's
26 years on.
Yeah, so, with minis, you're never going to get a boring mini race, are you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No.
What's I mean, the entry list is out. The championship, how are we looking? Is it going into this final round still to play for, or is it decided? I haven't worked it out yet.
Okay, so Supers is still all to play for. It's very tight. Nevin, if he pretty much wins it, if he wins the first race, but that anything can happen. You know, we won't say anything till the fat lady sings, as we normally say. Mighty Minis has been pretty much officially sewn up from calculations, and that was Mark Price, who finished got 2 fourths at Cadwell Park, which was a really cracking race. Unfortunately, I missed, so I've been getting the ins and outs from all the drivers. So yeah, so 2 fourth places at Cadwell. And that's pretty much sewn up the championship in the Mighty Mini. So he's going to go in this and just enjoying himself for this one. So that's fantastic news for him.
Isn't Mark Price's car the one that you got to have a drive of?
Yep. Yes, it is.
And he still managed to win the championship after that.
And he's still, yeah. Maybe I pushed him a little too hard. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm also quite chuffed because I actually sponsor that car as well. So I can't say too much about the car because obviously I don't want to, look like it's just a one-man band. So,
well, make sure we understand that. What do you mean by you sponsored? Who's you?
CC Sim Racing. So basically what I do is I'm an online racing series. I commentate with a good co-host as well. He's in America. Who's most of the time he's actually sitting in the car commentating. That's the dedication we have. But yeah, it's just been going from strength to strength, and it's just been incredible. And then, like I say, we've got a race happening this evening, which is going to be huge, with 3 tiers We've got 21 teams involved. It's going to be a bit hectic. So they're all waiting for me. And I said, no, this is much more important at the moment. So we'll just get this, I'm just absolutely buzzing that I'm back here, back on the telly again. So, well, I call it the telly, but it's,
Oh, it is, mate. Don't put it down again now. You've bigged it up now. It stays there, so that's fine. And you're going to join us in the commentary box for the 2 Mighty Mini races.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, last time we did it, I think you left me on the second one, didn't you? Was it toilet break? I think you said.
Would I?
So yeah, so I got Camp Corner wrong. I don't know how, because that's my favourite corner, but it ended up being really good. And Ian Snowman was fantastic as always. So as soon as I got to the top, and like you said, you can actually see round the side of Corey before you had to say anything. And so I was like, okay, I'll remember that for next time.
No, exactly. Well, hey, listen, considering it was your first time well, as we say, in the real world, it was a fabulous job, and what a thing to do it. So Nev Kirkpatrick, Steve Rideout second in that at the moment, and David Kirkpatrick, the brothers, aren't they? The Kirkpatrick.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So they're sort of the bread of the Steve Rideout sandwich, really. Steve Rideout's the filling in that one, really, isn't he? But
yeah, pretty much.
If Nev wins, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. He just needs to go out there and win.
Yeah, it'll be very close. If Steve actually finishes second, then obviously there's a slight points difference, but it'd probably be something like 1 point difference. So, Nev has to not finish. So it'd be very, very difficult, not to have that happen. He's been phenomenal this series, and Steve's also been cracking. But it's quite interesting for the top 4 places, because it's Nev on 300. Steve Rideout's on 256. You got David Kirkpatrick on 246, and Stuart Coombs is not that far behind, so he could pick second on 240 points. So, and those were the same 4 that had a cracking race last time at Combe when we were there. So it's very interesting to see what happens in the next race.
I don't know whether we can talk about it, but I don't know the answer to this. Is that I just saw in the write-up for the Cadwell race that sadly there was, I think the word was controversy at the end, or a disgruntlement at the end. If we can't talk about it and just say no, but what do you know what happened?
I think there was a slight bit of contact coming into the final 2 corners at Cadwell, and they're going through the woods, and there was a late challenge for a position, and one of the drivers actually put their hands up and said, "Yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, my fault." But I think it was just heated at the time. But the winner of that race, Dan Smith, he actually had bumper damage. But apparently I thought it was on. I did ask Dan. I said, "Was that done in the moment?" And he said no, that was done further back. So, yeah, it was a. From what I hear, it was a very interesting race. I haven't got the footage, which is a real shame. But I was watching the in-car footage from Mark Price's car, and I also watched it from Mark Ditchburn's car, and from the Supers, and it was fantastic. It's so narrow, that track. I mean, I've been there once years ago with the Alfa Romeos when I used to work for Alpha Tech Racing, and that's donkeys years ago. I took loads of 3-litre V6 manifolds, and I thought, I wonder if I could make some money here, and ended up doing about 8 in the actual test and the race series. Yeah, wow. So yeah, nice 30mm spanner come handy, and socket and wrench, and yeah, happy days. Make quite a bit of money then.
Yeah, good one. Not many people get to do that in motorsport, to be fair, but well done. Okay,
so said that maybe.
No, yeah, exactly. But so for the uninitiated amongst us, is that there's 2 classes. You've got the Mighty Minis, you've got the Super Mighty Minis. The Supers are obviously the more powerful of the 2. Officially, they're classed as Class B, aren't they? But that's
correct. Yeah,
the more powerful of them.
Yeah, 1293 engine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's slightly more of the A's by the looks of it. What we got, 9 A's compared to 7 B's, and we have a wonderful challenge: is that it will become 2 races in one, won't it?
Yeah, because last time we were there, I think they caught them up with about, I think it was about 3 laps to go, if I remember rightly. When it was, I think it was something like 5 minutes, wasn't it? I think, and it started getting a bit tasty, didn't it? If I remember rightly, as we were coming through Folly and then Avon Rise and Quarry. I was quite interested to see how that was going to pan out, and obviously that was my first real taste of standing in the commentary box and watching it unveil, and it was pretty awesome, to be fair.
Yeah, I've always said that us as commentators that we just tell the story that's written for us by the drivers on the circuit, and when it's classic mini racing, that's some good writing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw, the toe's massive there. I mean, I don't think there's any driver in the Mighty Minis and the Supers that doesn't dislike the track at all. I think it's probably one of their favourites, to be honest. And just having that chicane in there as well with the undulations. Sorry, Emma, I thought I'd just say that because I forgot last time. Because I think I said bumps. And I think Matt said that as well from TCR. So that was we had a little joke afterwards about that.
Exactly.
But it's a fantastic track. It's really quick. Like I said, the toe's going to be a massive, a massive difference for the guys. And maybe we'll see a different winner this week. I mean, that'll be interesting. But got some real interesting. Well, I find it quite interesting. Was Mark Price, up until the last race at Cadwell Park, had the fastest lap at each race circuit. So this one, I'm pretty sure he's going to try and do the same again. But I think he's got a bit more, a bit of a the series itself. I think the races involved in the Mighty Minis. I think there's quite the what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be very interesting. There's so much quality there. So we'll see how that all pans out, definitely, with especially Mr. Sam Slater, who was absolutely phenomenal. I see a gin going on there as well.
The current Mrs. Dawes has just bought me a refill before I need a refill.
You better down that one then.
Wow, exactly. Crikey. Thank you, current Mrs. Dawes.
Yes, a lot better than my cup of tea. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, no, don't say that. Don't let me get you in trouble, mate. Crikey, you're good enough at that yourself. Don't you worry about that. Well, John Creech, just quickly wrapping this one up then. John Creech says, looking forward to the Mighty Minis racing on Saturday for their finale. Special mention to Roger, Bob, Derek and Craig for all their hard work behind the scenes to help make the championship what it is. And totally agree with that one. And someone else was saying that they can't wait to watch the minis, and understandably it's going to be so much fun, so much enjoyment from the classic minis. They are the second qualifying session, and they are race 2 and I can't see the straight line. 9. Yeah, 2 and 9 out of the 12 races. So yeah, that's where we're sat there. Great entertainment. Race 3, not 2, because they're the second race after lunch. There's actually one race before lunch tomorrow on Saturday. So yeah, they're race 3 and 9 out of the 12. So yeah. Well, listen, Craig, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Much appreciated. You've got a sim race to go and cover. By the way, have you seen the video online? I've got to share it where it looks like Combe has been remapped for Assetto Corsa, and it looks incredible.
Has it really? Oh, yeah. That's well. We're on Gran Turismo Sport at the moment, so we're looking to do more British tracks. So, and obviously with the way it is as it stands, there's only Brands Hatch available on Goodwood. So, if we do transfer over to ACC, then that'll probably be a definite.
It's amazing.
Sure.
I'll tell you the way to find it, and I will share it myself as well. But if you go to the Bristol Motor Club Facebook page, they've shared it as a guy that suddenly he's American, and he's talking about this relatively unknown circuit and Castle Combe, I think he calls it. But it's the Americans, isn't it? It's the Americans for you. But he says it's a great test circuit for these supercars, and he's got 4 supercars that he's testing on it. And honestly, to everything, the commentary boxes, the Marshall huts, everything is there. It's just incredible what they've done there, because their first attempt I saw was not brilliant a couple of years ago. This one seems to be absolutely bob on. So have a look at that, people. It's really good.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like that's going to be really interesting. Oh, can I just mention though quickly,
please,
my friend, is that the David George Trophy as well? Forgot to mention that we were quite honoured to be having that as our trophy, and obviously we know about David George and his commentary has been legendary. But it's just great because James Jenkins rookie series, he's leading the championship at the moment, and it's very, very tight between himself, Ahmed Sharabani, who's 4th in the championship, in the Mighty Mini Championship. James Jenkins actually 3rd in the championship. So that's pretty impressive because he could have a top 3 finish and win the rookie award for the get the David George Trophy. But also Sam Slater's been flying the last few race series events we've had. One specifically, Pembrey, he was absolutely astonishing. So just a shame he broke down on the last lap, literally broke down on the last corner, which is a bit unfair for him. But that's he's on 148 points, so he still could potentially grab the rookie championship, the David George Trophy. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Well, Ahmed's not on the entry list at the moment, so he's not.
There's not a lot going on then. There's not
but on that's a second place one, but he's not. But the other two are. So you got to help me keep an eye on that during the race.
I will do, my friend.
Craig, go and do your Sims comms, mate. Much appreciated for taking time out to join us and preview the Mighty Minis. We'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, take care. Follow everyone. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy. Take it steady. So thank you very much there to Craig. And you heard him mention Brands Hatch. Now, this is a guy that, for me, is absolutely synonymous with Brands Hatch. I know he'll probably be telling me off for that because he's raced other places. He's got trophies from plenty of other places as well. And I class him as a friend because we bump into each other a lot and we get to talk about things, and he updates me via email. Crikey, where he lives by Brands Hatch, he sends me abuse because he can hear me in his back garden. That's how close he is. He's just an absolute legend. I've got to get him to qualify what the latest is in terms of his trophy count because it is bonkers. It really is. He's the main man, though, with regards to this next series that we're going to have a look at, and that's the CMMC. Oh, nearly knocked my next gin over. The CMMC Intermarque Silhouettes that are joining us this weekend. And I'm delighted to introduce you to Rod Burley. Bring him on now. Let me change it round. You're in the big one. Good evening, Rod.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to a bit of West Country air this coming Saturday.
It's a lot fresher, mate, I tell you. A lot fresher. Remind me. Now, I know what we're going to move on, and I know that you'll shut me up about this, but I want to for a second, so indulge me. I know we're going to move on to the Intermarque Silhouettes, but just about yourself. So anybody from the West Country that might not necessarily know this, what are your stats nowadays for the trophies? Because it's bonkers.
I suppose it's the wins you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
706, I think, somewhere around about there.
Just bonkers, isn't it? It really is. That most of those I've seen you in this, well, I'm going to call it wonderful, but I think you're swearing at it these days. But the Escort WRC that historically has been a wonderful, wonderful car. I think she's become a bit of a problem, a thorn in your side at the minute, hasn't she?
It's been a character building year, if you like to call it that. But I think we've got to the root of what one of the issues were, and hopefully we should be able to do a couple of events before the end of the year. So it's not, fingers crossed, it's not all doom and gloom. We should be back out there. We've got our own club meeting up at Snetterton on October the 16th. And then there's the Formula Ford Festival at Brands, which I know a lot of your Formula Ford drivers from Combe will come and fly the flag for your circuit.
Absolutely.
And then we'll probably do there's a winter meeting at Brands around about November the 12th. So that will probably sign it off for this year. If it's not sold, the car is up for sale, but you never know at this time of year what will happen.
You've just made me upset then saying that. I'm not happy about that. But I suppose they say every race car's always for sale, isn't it, really? Everything's got a price at the end of the day.
That's right.
But you're actually proactively selling that now, are you?
Well, it's advertised on Race Cars Direct. I've had a couple of people sniffing around. The chap from Portugal seems quite interested, but it's like everything, until the money comes across, the car carries on. I don't really want to sell it. It's been such an iconic car. It's just been, as I say, not very well behaved this year, but in the past, it's been great fun. I've even had a few wins down at Castle Combe with it, so it can't be all bad.
No, and I mean, I'm obviously being facetious about all of that. Is that actually the biggest issue you and I have been talking about? So many people have been struggling. Is to get parts. It's just hard ever since everything that's going on in the world to get those parts to sort the cars out.
it's been an absolute nightmare. And it's not, you know, we've got a BMW that some guys have lent me, and we've been trying to get engine parts for that, and that finally came together earlier this week. So that's running on the dyno a couple of days ago, but we're sort of really now looking towards next year for it. But another colleague of mine, Jonathan Bevan, he's been waiting for parts for his Honda Integra. Another one of our tin top drivers, Chris Whiteman, who races a Honda Civic, he's been waiting for a clutch for about 3 months. Yeah, it's really difficult. There's a lot of people. I was talking to a guy who does truck racing today, and he blew his engine up, I think, back at Thruxton in July, and he's still waiting for parts. He's hoping to get out for the big fireworks day meeting at Brands Hatch in November. So it's through all forms of motorsport, everybody's struggling. And like you said, you know, the cost of everything's going through the roof. Trying to get tyres at the moment, you know, they're proving to be quite expensive, and some of the sizes are getting really difficult to source.
Well, and difficult to get the tyres as well as expensive. Is that one of the our guests, hopefully we should have on later, is one of two that are really going for the Saloon Championship this year, Adam Preble. He says that he's still on really old tyres because he just can't get. He even went down to Avon tyres, which officially they're down the road from us at Combe, but it's like going, no, they don't have the tyres there. It's not how it works, and it's just everything's really, really hard. But it doesn't stop us, Rod. So we go to support groups for our addiction, I think, don't we, Rod? You know, we love our motorsport. Even when you're not racing, you're still sort of paying attention to what's going on at your beloved Brands Hatch in particular, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been obviously coming out of COVID and everything. It's good to see that the crowds are still coming through to watch the racing. I know you always get a good crowd down at Castle Combe, but it's been quite pleasing up here at Brands. You know, the crowds this year have been steadily improving, and one of the biggest highlights was the Superbike meeting in July, which had one of the biggest crowds for about 12, 14 years, which it's good because it brings a lot into the village, into the area. You know, people use local accommodation, pubs they go to eat, and it is good for the area. You know, I know there's a lot of people saying, you know, about noise and everything else, but you know, you've got to try and balance things out, and it is a difficult situation, but you know, you need these big motorsport venues to try and keep the industry going, because it's so important in this country. You know, you look at where all the Formula One teams, well, 90% of the Formula One teams are based. It's here in the UK, so we've got to keep things going.
Agreed, 100%. One of the other ones at Brands that always gets a good crowd that, you know, I thoroughly enjoy leading the comms team for, and what we're going to see on Saturday features strongly at is American Speed Fest, where we get the Euro NASCARs over, and the Intermarque Silhouettes are absolutely big there. Now let's focus our attention to that. Many people will know what we're talking about. We have a few in our GTs. Ollie Ball has come close to winning the championship for the last couple of years. He's not racing in it this year in a Tigra Silhouette. And Ruben's out there in one as well, featuring very, very strongly as well. Talk us through, for those that don't necessarily fully understand, what is an Intermarque Silhouette? Right.
Okay. If people are familiar with short circuit racing, they're very similar to a national hot rod. Basically, it's a tube frame chassis, and you can there's a sort of about 12 different body shapes that are approved that can go onto this tube frame chassis. So you can have, like you said, a Vauxhall Tigra, Peugeot, Mercedes SLK, Ginetta G40, VW Corrado, and, I mustn't forget Mr. Cheese, Philip Young. Is probably going to be the closest driver to Castle Combe. He now lives in Gloucester. He used to live down in Sussex, but he's got a Mitsubishi Colt. So it's just the silhouette that has to resemble the production road car. Two types of engines are allowed: the Vauxhall Red Top, which has been around for many, many years, and the Ford Duratec. Most of the guys use a H-pattern 4 or 5-speed gearbox, but we have started allowing in couple of sequential gearboxes. At the moment, they're on a fixed rear axle, but we're just looking to see how things pan out during the year, to see, you know, what little tweaks we're going to do for next year. They all run on the same tyres, and they're the Avon tyre, so they're just down the road from you. Waltham Services, James, he does a terrific job, but they are limited to the number that they can use. The slick tyres, it depends. This coming weekend, they're only allowed one new tyre. So tyre management,
as in not one set, one new tyre.
One new tyre, yes. So tyre management does come into it. They do obviously move them around on the car because they're the same size wheels, front and rear. They also use an Avon wet tyre. They can use as many wet tyres as they like. Looking at the forecast, we might have a little bit of moisture in the air on Saturday, but we'll try and be optimistic and hope that it stays dry. So the racing is very close. The cars are very quick because they only weigh, with the driver, roughly 860 kilos, and they're producing in excess of 270 brake horsepower. So they're quick. They're not far off what a TCR car would do. So, they're quite quick, and they've also got, the cost isn't too expensive. You can get a new car for between 35 and 40,000 pounds. Second-hand ones you can pick up for anything between sort of 20 and 25,000 pounds. And there's been some good drivers that have come through and moved on to other things. Most notably Matt Simpson. We've also got Malcolm Blackman. Unfortunately, he's not racing this weekend, but he's been one of the shining lights in the series. But this year we've had 2 or 3 other drivers that have come to the forefront. Daniel Smith, it used to be his brother Lewis Smith, who was one of the quickest guys out there, but Lewis is having a bit of a sabbatical at the moment until he gets a new car done. But Daniel has really come to the forefront, and he started winning races. Colin Smith, he's not related. They all come from Essex, all these Smiths, but the Colin Smith's not related. He's been going well, particularly now he's got a Ginetta. He seems to mix it at the front. And Ian Hales, who's got a Vauxhall Tigra, he comes from Norfolk. He's another one. We also mustn't discount that we've got a senior class. These are for drivers age 55 or over. And
so that's I/S, isn't it? That's those
Intermarque seniors.
Cool.
And that's proved very popular, and it gives the older senior drivers something to aim for to get a trophy. But a few of them also get up onto the top 3. Paul Knight is probably one of the quickest ones out there. Mick Robertson, these two are sort of vying, for the series trophy at the end of the year. And then you've got people like John Stewart, who was a world hot rod champion over 30 years ago, and he's well into his 70s now, but he really enjoys his racing. He just said, I've got a new lease of life. I've got fellow drivers I can race against, have a bit of fun. And really, that's what it's all about. It's enabling drivers to go out there and have a bit of fun. The cars are quick, they're spectacular. And for the second race, we have a semi-reverse grid. So there's always going to be plenty of overtaking.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Just say Kelly Dan says, you go Intermarque, see you Saturday, good luck. So the support's coming in.
We might drag you in for the grid draw, Chris. I know you always like to put your hand in a bag where there's a load of balls.
Yeah, I knew you were about to go there. As soon as you started, I knew you were going to do that to me. Absolutely. It's one of those ones that always makes me chuckle. It's like exciting racing that doesn't need spicing up, but you spice it up anyway, which is absolutely wonderful to see. We've also got an invitation one, Nafarelli, in a 1000cc car as well. Does that mean that's considerably slower than the rest?
No, Fabio's got a car which, it's a VW Corrado, but he runs a motorcycle engine, and he's asked us if he can come out. The body shape of the car will look very similar to the rest of them that are out there, but he uses a motorbike engine. So although it doesn't comply with the series regulations per se, because we're nice people, we allow him to run an invitation class. And from a public's point of view, it's another car on the grid. it's a similar shape to the other cars that are out there. It might make a slightly different noise, obviously, because it's got a motorcycle engine. But hey, you know, this is club racing. We need guys to come out there to have fun and to enjoy themselves.
No, 100% agree with you there. It's a series, isn't it? Not a championship.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. And that's great. That means they're going for trophies. And of course, the reason why, just to make sure everybody understands, Rod isn't actually racing this time for a change. Are you, if you're there, hopefully you'll come up and join me in the box, or are you busy in race control or anything like that?
No, we've got a good little team coming down. Kelly will be coming down. She'll be making cake for the drivers. You know, we're that sort of club. We know we encourage the guys to put on a bit of weight. And Richard Culverhouse, he'll be there. I think he was there last weekend.
He was, yeah.
The classic meeting. You know, he lives just up the road. And we've got David Bryce who'll be doing the race clerking. So we bring our own little team along. Everybody's got little bits of work to do, but no, I'm sure I'll be able to come up and see you and bring you up a cup of tea or coffee or something.
Or either that, if you're free during the race, we'll throw a headset on you and you can join me on the comms for the races, for those 2 races, because it is 2, isn't it? Yeah, your race number 5 and race number 12 rounding out. What a way to round out the action as well, is that's a good one. It'll keep the crowd there, because I've always thought that what I love about the Intermarque Silhouettes, they're so quick because they're so light, but they are unique in the way that they corner and everything. It's like they're like on a pivot, aren't they? They're just incredible.
Bit like go-karts in a way,
yeah,
with bodywork on, but their cornering speed is phenomenal. That's where they get the lap times from, because they have, you know, quite a large rear wing. They have a front splitter, so they've got a fair bit of aero. But the guys aren't frightened to race close, because virtually the whole grid has come from short circuit oval racing. So they're, you know, you're used to racing in close company, and they. Yes, occasionally little incidents happen, but they try to give one another room and to have a bit of respect. You know, we've got, obviously, this weekend, we've got a few of guys from the West Country, so they're going to want to fly the flag. People like Mark Sear and Ruben, who have got probably more circuit knowledge than the other guys, because it's been a long time since the Intermarque have been to Castle Combe. But it was one circuit that we thought is a good addition to the calendar. It's a fast track. But with the sort of racing that they produce, they should put on a really good show, and I'm hoping that your people will enjoy it as part of, you know, the finals meeting that you've got lined up for this weekend.
I cannot wait. I genuinely cannot wait. And final word then is just to say, where I was saying is that Rod isn't racing, but you're heavily involved in the CMMC it is that's putting this on, which is the Classic and Modern Motorsport Club, which is 3 years old now. I've lost track now.
Yeah, nearly 4 years old, actually.
Is it really? Which still doesn't seem possible.
How time flies. You know, we've got our Super Saloon series as well, and we've also got a series for Tin Tops. We've got one of our guys who does race with us regularly. I think he also races with you quite a lot. That's Alex Baldwin, and I'm sure that he'll be down racing with you this weekend. So, you know, we try to do a bit of encouraging our guys to come down to your track, and a few of your guys come up to Brands. It's always nice to see them up there. You know, we see Gary Preble occasionally and have a good chin wag with him, and Kevin Bird as well. You know, and you call him Charles Hyde Andrews Bird.
Chab, yeah, Chab for short, yeah.
Yes, yeah. They're all good people. You know, we all get on well together, and it's nice to see, you know, people travelling around to different circuits. It's part of what makes club racing. You know, we've got to make the best of what we've got at the moment, because God Almighty, I don't know what things are going to be like with what's going on with the government and the cost of living and everything. But like you said earlier, we'll always find a way to come out and do some racing. It might not be as much as we all hope to do, but I'm certain that, you know, we'll get people back on the grid next year, and it'll be a good season, and hopefully it'll carry on.
Especially as we're one big family, aren't we, Rod? And that's why I opened up with saying you and I get to, you know, to set the world to right many times in the season, don't we? And I'd feel like we've missed something in the season if we didn't catch up. So listen, Rod, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing the Intermarque Silhouettes over. We can't wait to see them, and I'll see you personally whether you can join us in the box during the races or whether we talk off mic, whatever. Have a safe trip to everybody, and we look forward to seeing everybody there.
Yep, looking forward to the weekend. And I think, although we've only got 15 going, I think they're going to put on some damn good racing. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks for all your help.
Thanks, buddy. You take it steady. So thank you to Rod Burley. Incidentally, while he can still see in the background, people picked up on the cake. Sav, hello, mate. We all love cake. Pete Spiller, one of the racing dads, said, cake, where do I sign up? And commentator too, did somebody say cake? So there you go, Rod. They were all loving that one, mate, straight away. As much for the people that are in my green room behind, I'm just going to make sure I update everybody. Next up, we've got a special guest in Jonathan Wills that's going to be coming on, because we've got a wicked car that is joining the saloons. For people that have watched for a long time, they're going to recognize this car, and it's so good that we're going to see it out. After that, we've then got Will Cox is going to join, and we're going to talk about the one of the other visiting series. No, it's a mini championship in itself. The Monopostos, they finished their main season, but they've got the Tiedman Trophy that's coming in. So Will Cox will be after that. I can see you there, Will. Greetings, mate. But bear with me. And then after that, we're going to look at our Saloon Car Championship in its main, where we've got the two main rivals. There's one or two others that could be there. Oh, and I'm pleased to see that Kipo's on the gin now. Bit of Whitley Neal, good man. And we're going to get Kipo, and I believe Adam Prey will be able to join us. He's not on camera at the minute, but that's fine. Oh, he is there. Hello, mate. He's in the back room. What drink you got on the go, mate? Or is it a protein shake? He's there. You guys sit patiently, because you're not on for a little while yet. So you sit there. Hopefully you've had your dinner, because you're going to be late back from work. But we'll catch up with those guys in a minute. But first up, I'm going to actually, you're not the priority yet, JW. You're going to have to wait there for a second, because I'm going to show the real star. And that is, let me check to make sure I bring it up. Right. Here we go. Should be coming up onto the screen. There we go. Let's change the way I do that. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Do people recognize that car? This car has raced for many, many years, or it's had a big break. It's had a big break, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But this car was a crowd favorite because it was an underdog, an MG Maestro. Turbo, yes, but it struggled against the likes of the Peugeot 205 GTIs and what have you. The car is the start. Now, sadly, it was involved in a big incident. We were just discussing it earlier. 2009, the big start line incident, put it out, didn't come back for ages. It's about to come back. Obviously, I'm joking. Let's really get the star up, the person that's made this possible. And it is Jonathan. Let me switch it up, because we're going to put you. Can I do it? Let me just check. I need to get, bear with me, mate. Switch you back up. It's Jonathan Wills. Hello, mate. You all right?
Hi there. Thanks for having me on. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, you probably didn't take any offence at me saying the car was the star then, because I know you're
absolutely right. People don't remember me, but they remember the car.
Yeah. Let's be honest, even you're obsessed with that car as well, with the amount of work you've put in.
Yeah. There's quite a story, a family story behind the car as well, which is even more bizarre, really. How it came to be, why it was built, how it was built, and it actually led to a few careers that actually happened because of it. So, and it was had a start line shunt, unfortunate, just a racing accident in 2009, and the thing was absolutely destroyed. To be honest, it cracked the gearbox casing, blocked everything, and we already busted our finances on credit cards and that, so we weren't able to afford to put it back on the track. So I thought I'd better go and earn some money. And then after about 10 years of earning money, I thought, this is rubbish. We need to go and back racing again. So so this is where we are today. So,
I've got to ask the question: does that mean that you still had it tucked away, or have you gone and found it again?
So it got in where we operate a business that we created, it lived in one of the sheds in an open Dutch barn, just really rusting away. We stripped it of. It was a very advanced car back in the day. I mean, it in 05 had 4 wheel speed sensors, suspension damper sensors. The amount of electronics with the help of a company called GWR Motorsport, Steve Hurst, who's an absolute legend in electronics and race cars. It was a bit of a supercomputer, actually. And so we stripped it of all those bits, put them in boxes, put them away, and sort of gave it up as a bad job, I suppose. But a couple of years ago, it's just like, it was interesting. I was at Brands Hatch. It was interesting talking to Rob Burley. We were at Brands Hatch, and some people came over and spoke to us about 7 or 8 years after, and they said, "Oh, were you used to race a Maestro at Combe?" I said, "Yeah, we remember that. We remember you overtaking Keith Murray. We loved that." They said, "Oh, we'd have some of that," and they were still reminiscing about it. And my brother and me were smiling to ourselves. It's like people still talk about it because of it's the underdog, because it's not typically what you'd expect to see out there fighting with some pretty fearsome machinery. But it took us a long time to develop it, to get the power out of it, to get it reliable, because I think we're one of only 1 or 2 that were ever raised. And certainly the development that was done to it. But there's quite a lot of back history, like I say, my brother, who's helped me tremendously from his school age. And because we were struggling to get the car to go quick, because no one was really interested, because it was a Maestro, he did very well at his A-level maths, and then went to Oxford Brookes University to do motorsport engineering. And then we had the help, while he was at Oxford Brookes University, we were utilising people at university to help us develop the car, people such as Jeff Gard, who's a senior design engineer from Cosworth. My brother subsequently did very well at university, ended up at McLaren, working on the F1 cars and the McLaren Senna and the P1. Wow. So this car, because we wanted to make it do well, because we wanted it, to succeed, because there were people that were initially, when we started racing it, it was derided. Some people would, what are you doing that for? Get a Cosworth, It made us more determined to make it quick, to prove them wrong. Boy, yeah. I mean, we did sink everything we had into it, and but it's fun. Racing at Combe's always been a joy. We went to Brands a few times. We had legendary Rob Burley on before. Brands is a great circuit. Hopefully, we'll be able to go there next year, maybe. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's being shown already is that, like, Tim Perry, one of our Orange Army, says a nice Maestro. Goose, one of the Quarry Hardcore, says was pretty quick too, from what I remember. Lewis Bird, one of our Hot Hatch racers, says, "I love that MG back in the day. Sat on the bank at Quarry Corner. Good luck on Saturday." And that's the point. That's what you're still feeling yourself, isn't it? And why you've done it. And Tim, again, he's just saying, can't wait to see it out there, which is why I said I wanted you on this show. Is that's the kind of thing, is that Combe is like that, isn't it? We connect with the cars, with the people, and one of the jokes that I always make is that I try to bring the soap operas to life behind the scenes, and if there isn't one, I'll create it. It's but that's what Combe's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It is fun.
Yeah. It's a fantastic atmosphere. It's friendly, but also I think there's some fearsome machinery at Combe, proper quick nationally, considering. I mean, we know how quick Rebels cars are, and the cars just behind them. I mean, they're well-developed machines, and all the competitors out there put their heart and soul. They'll be working on their cars now. They'll be busting their credit cards. They'll be telling their wife that they're at work when they're probably working on the cars. So, and again, the support you have from the crowd, and obviously from the marshals, are fantastic. A number of times they dragged me out the barriers. Thanks you, Chris. They're great. And I got to mention, I first went to Combe in the mid-90s, and there was a tremendous, talented gentleman called Terry Sanger, and he was a huge help and guidance from day one. He was a hugely experienced racer from the 60s, 70s. People, he's synonymous with him. But I have to mention him because he jumped in the car and drove it for me and told me what he thought of it when we first built it, and also with the racing and the track lines and stuff. So obviously we sadly lost Terry a few years ago, but it's many stories woven in with that car and with us working with it for quite some years now. Since about 98, I think we've been racing it.
I was just trying to, it actually just caused me a problem just trying to do a search on another search tab there. But the thing is that Terry Sanger, I'm sure that we've got a book that's been put together with Ken Davis, our chairman. I'm sure is that Terry Sanger that he's done a book, because he's quite a character, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think it was he would do a lot of after dinner speeches.
Yes.
And he would, I think, he would say, and I'll tell you another one, which is another yarn. He was, yeah, you know, so experienced. I'm sure.
I haven't read that yet. I haven't read it yet, but I hear that it's really, really funny as well as insightful, and I wouldn't be surprised if that may well be in the Castle Combe shop, just behind the pit lane there, under our commentary box and everything. But yeah, I can understand that he's an absolute legend. Stuart Tinker Taylor, one of our camp softcore dudes, says looking forward to seeing the Mad Maestro flying around Combe again. And that's the point, and that's what I want you to also make sure that you feel that. I know that you suspected that was going to be the case, and it is that we cannot wait. And I have to tell you that in the private chat, Kipo, saloon car champion of 2021, and he's in with a shout to win it again this year. He says, I can't wait to share the track with this. One more for the Combe MG family, because, of course, he's out there in an MG himself. Not a Maestro, but it's an MG.
He is, yeah. He's very well prepared, very slick operation there. So I'm sure he'll do very well on Saturday. From our point of view, it's baby steps, really. We've been testing during the course of the year. We had some issues with the rear dampers. We thought that they were set up correctly, and actually the rebound was completely incorrect, so I had no rear end grip. But we're getting over these things. Gary Preble actually came over and said hello the other day and thought we'd discuss a few things, car, and he was grinning like a Cheshire cat from ear to ear, because he's like, is this the actual car that we've got enough to say is the actual, and he said like a time warp, because we put it exactly. In fact, we've had to repaint, we had the shell acid dipped and we welded it, but we kept some of the original panels back from the early 2000s. So the doors, the front doors, I decided to leave them. They've got the original sponsors, stickers and graphics and a few battle scars back from 09. So it's we've left it for the crowd. It's got National Mobile windscreen stickers on it.
Oh, wow.
Because that's how it left the track, with that sponsor. So I thought for a bit of nostalgia for everybody, we won't paint it all up. We'll put those battle scarred panels on there just for this race at least anyway, for people to say, yeah, it is that car.
Wow, that is awesome. Definitely. I mean, I remember the National Mobile windscreens bus that used to be there in the paddock and everything. Absolutely amazing to see that. It's so good. How did it go in testing today? Did you take it out today?
Yeah, so we were running this afternoon. So just several things. You're trying to find yourself as a driver. You're trying to get braver on your turning points and actually carry the speed through the corners and understand. And we're on older tyre today. We'll be on fresh tyres for the race. That's another thing we've got to find. All the tyre regulations have changed since I've left, so working that out a little bit. So quite frankly, we're just looking to finish the race. A lot of things have changed since I've last raced. So no longer do driver briefings. No longer do the scrutineering, which was a huge thing in my day. You always went to scrutineering, and it was nerve-wracking because the scrutineers are, you guarantee they find something wrong, and you've got to push it all the way out of scrutineer and try and get it what they wanted, then get it back, and there's massive pressure. But that's all changed. It's much more relaxed because of COVID, the rules and regs, and so I'm learning to go back and do your first race. Although I've raced loads in the past, but because of that decade break, it's it's interesting what's changed. And the Combe surface has changed a lot. The track's been resurfaced. There's some bumps where there wasn't bumps. Some bumps have disappeared. Some wet patches have gone.
Wait, Jonathan, they're undulations. They're not bumps, okay? Please. You got to get it right. Toe the family line. It's undulations.
Yeah. The mildly severe undulation.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, the other point as well is rightly so, of course, being a turbo, you're in Class A, but that makes life even harder, doesn't it? Let's be honest, against the other Class A machinery in there. Goodness me.
It's so well developed, those machines, and so well driven. They're a long way down the road from where we are. So we're looking to complete Saturday, go through the motions, start getting ourselves back, race rusty, getting back into the groove, and just enjoy it. Keep out of trouble, finish the race, and just start to find our feet. And we may try and do the odd. If there's anything we can enter during the winter period, we might stick it in there. I've always fancied doing the plum pudding race, but I've never actually done it. We've managed to get into the last race for this season, but we want to continue developing the machine and developing myself during the course of the winter.
And we're going to see you back next year.
100%. Yeah.
Mate,
yeah, absolutely.
That is amazing. And I have to say, I think that's the perfect way to end this interview. That is what we're looking forward to. Keep an eye out, everybody, for the MG Maestro. For those, that may not necessarily all remember it, because, of course, we get lots of people that are newer than that. 2009, did we establish it was the last time?
When it left us, yeah, in April 09, first race, I think it was. So
right.
Really the 07, 08 season was really the last time it was around. So
right. So there'll be people that it's new to, but you'll now understand why people around you might be sort of getting a bit nostalgic as they see this. And it's just, give it a big cheer, and I'm sure when you go back on your cool down lap, you'll be waving to the crowd and they'll be waving back. It's just, it's another great character to see back. And I have to say, Jonathan, thank you to you guys for bringing this back again, because I know it's been a project of love.
Thank you. It has. It's been a huge project. And thank everybody that's helped on it, from my assistant Barry, my brother Matthew, and members of staff that have helped out on it over the last year or so, and really got into it as a project to move forward. They understand why I'm quite as mad as I am, I suppose.
Absolutely. Jonathan, thank you so much, my friend, and I look forward to I'll make a point of coming and seeing you as well, hopefully in the paddock before I go up to the commentary box for the races. But enjoy it, mate, enjoy it.
Look forward to it, and thanks everybody watching. Looking forward to seeing, and if there's anybody in the paddock, come and say hello, make yourself known to us, and see if we can put on a show for people.
You're a legend. Appreciate it. You take it steady, buddy.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Right, very quickly, it's promo time and Dawesy Whittle time. Back in a second. Phew, that's a relief. That's why I queue up. I've got adverts ready to be able to do that. Thank you to Jonathan Wells there, and make sure you get into the paddock and get photos with that MG Maestro. It's so cool. Quickly before we move on to our next guest, another big announcement, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get him onto the show at some point. Castle Combe Circuit has been joined by a new general manager, Piero Stobbia. I met him for the first time last Saturday at the Autumn Classic. Wicked guy with some really exciting ideas, and he's part of a bigger vision for the circuit. Someone that can help lead and manage the day-to-day operations, take the circuit to the next level. This is what the owners are saying themselves, and ongoing success in the future. And we've managed to poach him from Gloucestershire County Cricket Club as well. And he's joined, he was their operations director there as well, I hasten to add. And he's joined as general manager here. So welcome to Piero. He's going to draw me over the coals, I'm sure, about this show and all sorts of things. But it's great to see that you know, so many of us are just cut us in half. We bleed Castle Combe. This guy's got some great visions of where we can go and how we can take this circuit forward, which I know means an awful lot to so many of us. Right. Huge thank you to those of you in the green room for the patience. We got coming up next, we're going to look at the Monopostos. After that, we've then got two main rivals for the Saloon Car Championship. But first of all, it's one of our local racing drivers in reality. This is why he was perfect to come on. He's always really helpful because I've covered the Monopostos loads of times this year. I always do, and I thoroughly enjoy them. And this guy he's going to have to remind me from exactly where, but I know that he's not far from this circuit, and I'm going to bring him on now. It's Will Cox. Let me change which camera's there.
Evening, Chris.
Will. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for your patience, mate. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem.
Remind us, where are you?
Stroud.
I knew it. See, I was right. I was there, and I was there thinking Stroud, but I looked at the entry list, and they've not got the locations, and I questioned which I should never do, but I did. So it's a local race for you.
Yeah, it is. I obviously test at Combe a lot. Done every race since I've been racing that we've done at Combe. So I think this is my 5th time racing at Combe in 5 seasons of racing. So
it's been a frustrating year for you, though, isn't it? Because I know that we've been conversing during races. You've been updating me via message. That's not what we want from a racing driver, really, is it?
No, I mean it's not necessarily that we've had any issues. It's just I chose not to do those races for various reasons. But I am hoping to do the full season next year.
Good man,
So,
good man.
Yeah.
And you are out this weekend. You're in a Rolt RT3.
Yes, it's Jim Blockley's RT3.
Okay.
And then
if anybody doesn't know, what does that mean?
So Jim Blockley is a very successful, well-known driver within Monoposto. He's won like 6 or 7 championships in that car. Okay. It used to have the classic class lap record until a few years ago when a car came in that was even sort of newer for the class and sort of took it away, but not very long. But obviously, it's like a 1984 car, so quite old, but very fun.
That's the sad thing, is that 1984 classic, really? Yep. It is. David Cox, who's he?
My dad. So Dad and I are racing against each other for the first time.
For the first time?
Yeah, in the same class, because normally I'm racing in the Mono 1600 class in my Formula Vauxhall Junior. So Dad and I have been in the same race, but not in the same class. So
got you. Yep. Who's going to win?
Oh, we'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Just to make sure everybody's aware, is that the main championship season has completed now, hasn't it?
Yeah, that finished at Donington Park 2 weeks ago.
Okay, but every year we have the Monoposto, the Reprise IT. Is it Tiedman or Tiedman?
I think it's Tiedman.
Sorry, Tiedman. Actually, I wrote that down wrong. I forgot that E. Tiedman. I always worry that I get that wrong. And it is sort of like, it's almost like a winter series, isn't it, to some extent? It's not a winter, but that's the concept, isn't it?
That's the concept of it. So it's essentially having a little it came about because we used to have some non-championship races at the end of the season. And then I think it was in 2013, Frank Tiedemann, who was the founder of the Monoposto Racing Club, he died. And so the club decided to name a little championship in his honor. And we kind of, instead of having these 3 non-championship races at the end of the year, made it into a little mini championship. And it's sort of been, well, this is the 9th year that it's run. So.
Yeah, and I mean we're the opening 2 rounds for that, and then you move on to Snetterton
next week.
Ironically, that means I shall see you there as well, mate, because I'm on the night for that, because that's GT Cup climax and things like that. So I'm on the comms for that, so I shall see you there. And then 5th of November at Silverstone. So that's the Walter Hayes weekend, is it not?
Yeah, so we're supporting the Walter Hayes this year. We also did last year as well, actually.
Fabulous, because we know that gets a good crowd, doesn't it, as well? Oh, wow. Okay. So it's 2 races at each.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. It's not a typically Monoposto-sized grid this Saturday.
No, sadly not.
Only because I can't hide it. I can't. I can't make it any different. It isn't. In the fact that you guys are so bumper. Normally, it's got to be split into 2 races, hasn't it? We've got everybody together. But I have to say that intrigues me. We've got an F3. We've got, great to see Jason Timms is back out in his like monster Moto 1400cc thing, which is basically an F3 car with a 1400cc bike engine in it, isn't it?
Yeah, they're rapid, those cars.
And of course, it's a local race for him because he's a Gloucester boy.
Gloucester boy, yeah.
Yeah. So who was the other Timms?
Jeremy.
We haven't seen him for a little while, have we? Sadly,
he's racing in historic Formula 3 now.
Ah, okay. Oh, fair enough. So that's where he is. We've then got only one Moto 1000, which of course is a Jedi. Those things are bonkers, aren't they?
Mental.
They are just, it's incredible. Nigel Davis is going to be taking that Team Fern Racing Jedi round. Quite a few 1800s actually. I missed a couple of 2000cc, 2 litres in there in effect, 1600s. And of course the classics, and it is you versus your dad for first and second there.
Yeah, it is. We'll obviously see what happens on Saturday.
Is it the same that in the Tiedman Trophy that it is you are fighting in the class? It's not like an overall thing or anything.
It's a bit of a weird point system in the Tiedman Trophy because everyone is on.
I knew you were
one
going to tell
together.
me that.
Everyone is on one grid together. The whole point of it is to have one grid. It's kind of trying to keep the cost down. That's part of it. So we have one grid and everything like that. And so essentially, you're competing in your class, but you then get your normal class points for wherever you finish in class plus fastest lap point, and then you also get points for the number of people who are in your class. So then at the end of each meeting, so at the end of Castle Combe on Saturday, there'll be a first, second, and third champion of Castle Combe in point system.
Yeah.
So the overall Tiedman Trophy, whoever wins it outright, generally is the person who's come from the biggest class. They've had the most people in their class because they've got additional points. So there is actually an overall champion for it. But in like the 9 years it's run, it's come from various different classes and everything. And I was fortunate enough to win it in 2018. But
I was about to say that for you, is that I was looking at it as 2018 that you won it in the Mono 1600s that you were in at that point. You'll be looking to do that. Ben Powney won it last year. Jeff Fern, I mean, he's Mr. Monoposto, isn't he?
Yeah. I've had last year, actually at Combe in 1600, I have had the most amazing race against Jeff Fern.
Oh, really?
Wheel to wheel for pretty much a whole race. And I did fortunately come out on top, but we had an amazing race. Side by side, every corner. We changed places like 2 or 3 times a lap, and it was mental. And there is actually a live stream of it because I think Alpha were streaming it that weekend. So it is actually on YouTube. And when I'm got a bit of spare time, I often watch it back.
I'm not surprised. I mean, and he is an incredible guy. I mean, he really is. I don't know actually what his age is, but let's just say he's not a spring chicken, that's for sure.
He wouldn't like me to reveal his age.
No, absolutely. But he's always racing. Plus, it's Jeff Fern Racing, runs a whole load of cars for other people. He won the Tiedman in 2020, 2016, and 2014. He's just a wonderful, wonderful guy, and I'll be sad, when eventually he's not involved. Great to see that Ewan Surgison himself won it in 2015 as well, and of course, that family are very, very instrumental in this Monoposto racing, of course, as we know. So it's 2 races for you guys. You actually kick off the qualifying action and the race action, the one race that we've got before lunch. That's a nice way to do it, is to get the action underway.
Yeah. Hopefully the forecast stays as it is. I think qualifying is probably going to be wet.
Really, because I was looking at it, and actually, to be honest with you, it's looking like we're going to be okay in the morning.
I think there's quite a lot of overnight rain. I don't think the track will have fully dried out.
That's a good point, yeah, because I'm actually at the circuit tomorrow because I'm hosting the racing school, and yes, that's not looking good tomorrow, is it? But in terms of Saturday's rain, we're not looking, although it's a little bit earlier than I saw earlier, probably about 1 o'clock or something like that. So you should get your first race in the dry, which is at 11:40, and then your race number 7 as well, to around 3:10. It's quite a busy schedule, though, isn't it? The Tiedman Trophy, because was it next weekend?
Yeah, next weekend at Snetterton. Yeah, so I mean, obviously being autumn, it generally is within October and November.
Yeah,
but it's quick turnaround. It's fortunate that I'm actually using my 1600 at Snetterton, so I don't have to prep a car in a week.
Good point.
So I tactically did that so that I can not have this sort of mental week next week trying to turn a car around.
Yeah, and in fairness as well, is our very own Emma Strawford says she'll be deploying word skywards to Father Strawford, Howard Strawford, to sort of like make sure that it's as good as possible. Who is your money on for the outright race win?
That would be George Line in the invitation to Lara.
I was about to see that, yeah, because that's come over from what would have been in the F3 Cup historically, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's obviously there's an invitation class in the Tiedman, and so he's bringing that out, and
Brilliant.
Those things are so quick. I mean, those F3 Cup cars last year, when we were there watching them come through camp, was just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we got our outright lap record broken by Stefano Lini in that particular race as well. Slightly different car to what George is bringing out, I accept, but even so, the Jedi is going to be stupidly quick round Combe, I would imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, Nigel's very quick. I just hope he had a bit of an engine blow up at Donington, so he's trying to get that sorted in 2 weeks. So I hope he has got that sorted.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, cross for that. Jason Timms will be quick as well. Usual one is that whenever I commentate, he doesn't necessarily get off the line brilliantly. He'd prefer to be a rolling start in that bike engine, I think, wouldn't he?
Yeah, those 1400 cars are notoriously not good off the line compared with the Jedi or an F3 in normal spec. But then they're so quick coming back through the field that generally they do.
As a commentator and a spectator, I love that when they got to work back through again. It does make it wonderfully fun. It's such a wonderfully eclectic mix. I mean, we've got Formula Renault in there as well. Just so cool that we've got the great mix of that the Monopostos always bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good seeing all the different cars, and all those cars wouldn't be racing if it wasn't for Monoposto, and I think that's what's so good about the club. It keeps all those cars going, otherwise they'd just be parked up somewhere, probably sort of rotting away.
Agreed, and I think that's generally a phrase that I use whenever I'm commentating on the Monopostos. We want them out there racing. Although there's always some intriguing, what I love as well, intriguing engineering feats in there as well, where they've kind of Frankensteined them a little bit, and they're just even better than they were originally.
Yeah, I mean those Dallara 1400 things, they are a perfect example of that. The whole sort of back end of them with the bike engine gearbox and everything like that, they're all sort of homemade, which is great. And then there are also people that build their own cars and bring them out in Monoposto, which is brilliant.
Agreed. No, absolutely. What's your favourite part of Castle Combe Circuit in a Monoposto then?
I have to say I absolutely love camp.
Yep.
Camp corner, especially in this RT3 that I'm driving this weekend, it's just insane.
Really?
But then like Quarry is amazing as well. I mean, I love Castle Combe. I'm very biased towards Castle Combe. It is a brilliant circuit. It's so quick.
Any part of it that puts the EBGBs up you though?
I always sort of coming towards Tower. You're always like, I hope the brakes work.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah. Well, listen, best of luck with it. Thank you for joining us. Sorry it's a quick, but we'll catch up with you properly. No, I appreciate
say hello
it.
in the paddock if you're around.
We will, and everybody else, go and say hello to Will and everybody else on the Monopostos. Best of luck for Saturday, buddy.
Thank you very much, Chris. Cheers.
All the best, Will.
Bye.
So, Stroud Driver, we got to keep a shout out for him. Right, I would say we'd end the show up there because I'll just wind the guys up. We're not, because we're bringing out 2 championship rivals now. The Saloon Car Championship, it is unbelievably tightly formed. I mean, it is so close. The only reason why I'm happy that we're going to get the 2 closest rivals out now is that they don't actually race directly against each other. Otherwise, I'll feel more like a referee tonight. Whereas I'm not. I'm safe on that. They're in different classes where they score their points in their classes, remember. Up until last race, last year's champion, the number 1 car, James Keeping, was leading the way. Then he had a very rare incident, and I'm going to bring this up because we're going to chat to him about it. This is a freak incident. This is not normal that we would expect to see this, and he still doesn't know exactly what happened, and it switched the championship the other way. And so we've got Adam Preble on, who's actually leading the way. But just quickly watch this a second. Let's pop this up here. Just suddenly snapped from nowhere. And I'm going to show the same incident from the rear. Very, very weird. You see, it was done. It was over the crest. It was, everything was sorted. And then for some bizarre reason, it just snapped left. It snapped left and spat him. And he still doesn't know exactly what the issue. But we're going to address that. We're going to address the crescendo of this Saloon Car Championship. We, of course, have got Kipo himself on. And I'm delighted to say we've got Adam Preble on as well. Evening, guys. Thank you for your patience, fellas.
Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, James, let's just flick to you. Thank you for providing those clips. I mean, that is just weird, isn't it?
I still don't understand what happened. 1 minute I'm turning to go right, and the car went left. Next I knew I was in the barrier, climbing out. Pretty grumpy, I gotta say. and it was a hard hit. The rector-cell barriers saved the car, but it still hurt.
Really? Are you okay now?
Yeah, it took a week to recover. I had a little bit of concussion, all the stiffness that goes with it. But I'm all right now.
So, with regards to the car, then, you presumably tried to go over it with a fine tooth comb, and you found nothing.
No, we've had all the wheels off. We've done all the brake pads, rebled the brakes. We found nothing wrong with it. I mean, speaking with Adam in the morning, I think Adam could say the track was pretty dusty in the morning and quite slippy, because we both did say, didn't we? In the afternoon, I could have hit a bit of dust. I'm not too sure.
I thought he was looking at his rearview mirror because he didn't want me to lap him. That's what I was thinking. I actually did. I saw it firsthand, right in front of me. I literally was cut behind him. Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. It literally was right in front of me.
So even you,
I was coming up to Quarry at the time, up to Avon Rise, sorry.
So even you, Adam, you looked and thought that's a bit odd.
Yeah, I did. It went in quite fast as well.
Okay, because obviously we're a bit blind from the commentary boxes for that one, so it wasn't until we saw all about it. And in fact, I think it took us a moment to realise that you disappeared, James, and that was bizarre. Have you been out testing today, Kipo?
No, I've been at work.
Fine, okay. So, I mean, let's build up the excitement to this then. Is that means that in reality, you're rocking up at qualifying on Saturday and going, is this okay?
Great to hear.
Yeah, it's like a first race all over again with that EBGBs. But no, it'll be all right.
And you've rebuilt everything, all the damage is sorted. Like you say, those Recticel barriers are amazing. I always make the joke thing that we're not allowed to talk about what they're made out of, but we hear rumours that it's the lint from a mouse's handkerchief and the cream from a bourbon biscuit. But you can go into them and come back out again, so we can't talk about it, all right? So just mum's the word. But the car largely okay?
Yeah, we drove it back from Park Ferromator where we park up, and Nick Mizzen, bless him, hit all the dents out in about 30 minutes with his fist.
Really?
So she doesn't look pretty, but she's sort of an MG shape.
Oh, well, that's good enough for us, mate. That's good enough. Goose was up at Quarry, and he said, I have to agree, it looked like from the outside nothing was wrong. Although Alicia Hamlin, obviously from the Formula Ford world, said looked like rear wheels locking. I did see a little puff of smoke on the rear camera. And Alicia says, happened to me in 1994 as a result of a faulty balance bar.
Okay. I'll have to have a look at that then.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know. Alicia's got good experience on. Okay, it's the Formula Fords, the single seaters, but even so, that's the situation. Obviously, we've also got to put this up. Celeste says, can't wait for Saturday. Very exciting. No pressure, Adam. But I mean, Adam, flicking to yourself is that you kind of have to get on with your own race at the front there. And I guess you didn't. Well, no, you did see it happen up in towards Quarry Corner, but I would imagine it wasn't until afterwards you suddenly realised that meant that you'd taken the lead in the championship.
To be fair, I did, for some reason I thought he was going to get going again. It did look car, but I also know you can get away quite lightly going into those barriers. So I thought, I know what he's like. I know we get going again. Not in a bad way. I hate to see anyone going, and I'm not going to win over someone in an accident anyway. Rather be over points or a race win or in that way. But I did think, he'd be out, and he was there. And I did feel gutted for him. But like again, I did see his back locking. Every time I was going up, as I was catching him, I was going in the tower, and I kept seeing little puffs of smoke going to all the corners. Not knowing what it was, I just thought someone was locking up brakes, and then obviously seeing that, and James says obviously with it going off, that might have been like a rear wheel was locking, and that might maybe just caused it.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Adam, I've got to pick one key thing up with you. We've been scaring the bejesus out of Kipo. Now I'm going to scare the bejesus out of you, Adam. I see on the entry list there's a certain Gary Preble racing.
I know, yeah, he's come to try and ruin it all, hasn't he?
What is the dynamic on that one? I'm intrigued.
I don't know. I think he's had so much unluck with the Civic this year and that. And I think he just wants to come out and get out and have a good race. I'm happy to see him out. Like I said, if it comes to it and we're racing, and if it's too close, there's no point. Because I think my dad worked out. I have to come at least third, I think, to do it with the fastest lap. So if it gets to a point and I'm going to have an accident or going to push him too hard, I don't know where I'm going to be. If I can get away well like I had before. And if it's between me and Gary, I just got to try and play clever. And don't be wrong, I'd love to win as well. If it's coming to a point and it's too close, I think, is it worth risking it? No, to myself. But don't get me wrong, everyone says these things and you have a race, and it's a bit different with your brothers behind you. But definitely, I'm definitely going to try and win. But if it comes to a point it's going to be too far, I've got to try and think of the big picture. But we'll see. We've got to get that far yet.
Yeah, well, as Gary's just put there, coming to knock him off, he says. Although I will just, I'll temper that. Is he does put the laughs there. And,
that's normally Tony Hutchins.
Yeah. And Celeste says Gary Preble. No, interestingly, by the way, just as you mentioned that, I will say it. The right time to say it is this is Mr. Hutchins' last race. Tony Hutchins' last race at Castle Combe.
I think he didn't sign all the drinks at the awards evening, but I could be wrong.
What was that?
He did say he's buying all the drinks at the awards evening. I could be wrong.
Well, he done. Now that we know we're rapidly approaching 300 people at that evening, I suspect that won't be the case. But I mean, the guy's just a Castle Combe folklore history. He goes down, and I have to say, Adam, that I have very many recollections of you two having some amazing races. Some rough races. I remember I'm pretty sure it was that Tony came charging across the paddock towards you and what have you, and but you're still like able to have good friendly races with each other this many years on.
Yeah, me and Tony have always we're always really good friends. Nothing would ever be that way. Things happen at heat of the moment, and that's obviously just racing.
That was when you were in that Rover 220, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think that was the last race of the year as well. I think I was gonna. I don't know if it was going to win the Class A, or I don't know if it was any more than that. I'm not too sure. But I know it was the chance of going to win the championship of some sort. I actually can't remember, but yeah, that's what ripped the Rover off that time. It was a good race. Yeah. It's part
that
part
was up at
sport.
That was up at Quarry, wasn't it, as well? From
yeah, that was coming out of Quarry, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is sad to see that he's going to be going, and I'm going to get him onto a show and do a proper interview with Tony. He said that he will do it because that's a lot of history that we can pick out from him, isn't it? He's seen it change over the years brilliantly. So, but he's going to be up there, as well as Mr. Spiller, of course, is going to be there with that TT that's just getting more and more used to that car. As long as he can get it off the line, that's the biggest struggle he's got. But I mean, those Class A cars, you guys are just getting quicker and quicker. They're just bonkers, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I can remember when they stopped the four-wheel drives when they were doing the 11s, and they banned them from the saloons. And now we're in the 10s, and we're in the saloons.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's just a show. I think we were doing. I think the quickest back then in the Rover. I think I'd done a 15 back then. And now I don't think it's weird because not much has changed really. I'd love to see what the Rover could do now, as it was on the track now, because I don't think not much has changed. I think the track has changed quite a bit, and the tires we can use have changed quite a lot. But other than that, I don't think it's changed. I don't think much has changed because, like with the Astra, we've not changed anything with the Astra. If anything, we turned the power down on the Astra, trying to make it more reliable. So it'd be interesting to see what the Rover could do on a good set of like the Dereza tires. And it running nicely.
Have you still got it?
Yeah, it's still in the shed. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Yeah, because I remember you being really you were gutted that you couldn't race that in the saloons anymore, weren't you? You were connected to that car.
Yeah, we were gutted. Yeah, we were gutted. I really did enjoy that car, but then when I drove the Astra, I didn't realise how hard the Rover was to drive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're fighting the thing around. It was, especially on the slicks. The tires are too big. And you really were, like Gary drove it. I don't want to say the words he said, but he said it was rubbish. He said, how do you drive this? It wasn't nice to drive. And we took out on a test day with Gary, and I thought, what snapped? An arm or something snapped, and it dropped. And luckily, it didn't crash into Quarry. So
wow.
I think we need to get that sorted. It'd be good to get that back out somewhere.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Especially with, in your race, we got that MG Maestro back out again. I can't wait to see that as well. Definitely. It's going to be wicked. Kipo, you obviously have been enjoying this year. By the way, just to quickly answer your thing, Adam, is that Gary says the lower wishbone snapped. That was what it was.
Oh, wishbone, yeah, good.
He still has nightmares about that, clearly. But yeah, sorry, Kipo, is that obviously you were absolutely ecstatic with winning the championship last year, been carrying the one. You're in the hunt for the championship again. How has it changed this year for you? Almost, people talk about the monkey being off the back. Has it made things a bit more relaxed for you this year?
No, not really. I still go about it like we would. I don't realise I got number one on the car sometimes, and that's what you got to think of. You just go out at the end of the day. We're all club racers. We're here to enjoy ourselves. We're not professionals. I'd love to be.
Yeah.
But no, it's still me and my dad, and Martin Chivers has helped us a lot. Bill Brockbank. So a very small amount of people have worked on our car and helped us get out this year. But nothing's changed too much.
But the hunger's still as much as it was last year for the championship?
Oh yeah, it'd be nice to get it. After last round, well, I got to chase Adam now rather than him chase me.
And on that front, I mean, I made the point at the beginning is that you guys, we're saying about chasing and fighting, is it's a very unique. No, it's not unique, but it's an interesting conundrum in the fact that you're not actually racing against each other, and so presumably you just put your head down and do what you can in your class.
Yeah, you can only do what you can do. Have your own battles and do the best you can. Someone said to me, the best you can do is overtake the car in front of you and not let the one behind overtake you.
Yeah.
And it goes quite quick when you're in the car, doesn't it, Adam?
Yeah.
As the lights
Depends
go
when
out,
you're up front, it takes very slow.
you look at the lap board and 10 out of 15 laps gone. Think, Jesus, where did that go? But the last 5 laps, well, especially in my case, seem to stop quite literally.
I've always wondered though, Adam, when I've spoken to you guys about some of the incredible battles that I've had the pleasure to commentate on, of you and your brother duking it out like a pair of prize fighters at the front of a field. Surely that doesn't feel like it goes in a blink of an eye, because that almost feels like if you're under pressure from him, that it would last forever.
Forever. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're chasing, it goes way too quick, and if you're ever in front, it feels forever. Honestly, the amount of times I think, let me check the lap board when I go around, and all the time I'm trying to look at what my dad's saying to me, either slow down or this or saying something. And I always I forgot. I don't even know how many laps he got. The amount of times I've gone over the line that the checker flag's gone, I've been like, I've been really happy because I've just been out trying to look for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, we're talking Kipo there about the fact that it changes when you're the one that's in the lead under pressure. Is that I get the feeling that's got a bit more feisty in that Class C, because Lee Waterman and James Blake, they were looking good last round in particular.
Yeah, James has always been quite quick. He's probably got the quickest lap in an MG now, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
And Lee's replaced Martin, basically. I look in the mirror and all I see is another grey MG. Starts to get quite annoying after about 10 years.
But it's keeping you honest and putting some pressure on, and you're joined this time by Matt Parr.
Yeah, Matt's going to be quick in that 106. He always has been. So I'll see if he can be the best of the MGs again. But James is on it at the minute, and Lee's not too far behind him.
I mean, I know that you could probably go, shut up, Dawesy, you're making the pressure even mounted even more. But, that's what it's all about, is that the pressure is pretty huge out there. And you're going to be focusing, and I try to do it as a commentator, is not just pay attention on the race, first and down to whatever it is. It's each class, it's a subplot that is absolutely vital for the championship.
Yeah, it's hard to explain when you're in the car, because sometimes you don't know who's in front of you in class and who's behind you, because the start can be absolutely manic. Sometimes Lee can get a massive gap and you think, where's he gone? I remember once this season we started, I think Stuart Ignall had a fantastic start. Yes. He went from about 4th to 1st. So it's weird seeing Stuart up ahead, and he held it for 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah.
He's come on quite a bit now.
Agreed.
So you can have another one to the list of another quick driver in C.
And I think that kind of leads me on to the next question I was going to ask, really, is the fact that I always make a sort of fairly light-hearted comment in the commentary, is that saying, like, they don't need to race with that driver because they're in a different class, but racing drivers, they don't care. They'll just race with ever. But by this point of the season, do you start thinking championship going, I don't need to race with that class B car or whatever it might be? And the second part to that question is, does that mean your pit board tells you where you are in your class rather than overall position-wise?
I don't have a pit board, I just go for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dad just waves me on. I mean, if I can get a Class B car between someone like Lee, if he's chasing me, then I will. So it gives you that a bit of a buffer.
But also, in other words, if there's a Class B car in front of you, you will try to overtake it to put a buffer behind you.
Yeah, it just gives you a bit of breathing space, I find.
No, I get that. I mean, Adam, does that make your life easier? Because being a Class A car, you're at the front of the overall field, so there's nothing confusing. You know what the story is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that obviously that does make it a lot easier, because you know if you're there or not. If you're further back, then you know you've messed up.
Yeah. But the flip side to being a Class A car is, I always make the comment, and I assume that it's true, is that I say the driver's hearing everything, feeling everything with that car And those Class A cars are monstrously powerful, but they're more precious than my wife. You know,
yeah, and unreliable. That's obviously one of the really big worries, because we went to Gary's the other day, and he tracked it and everything. We had a look over it, just had a look and just make sure everything's okay, because the last thing we want is just something to bad happen, and it to be down to a mechanical fault. Like the race we on that double header we had, we lost that race because of the alternator, just a wire on the alternators. That was the reason why we dropped that round. And other than that one, we've luckily been on top for the other races. So that's the worst, to lose it over a mechanical fault. I'd rather it be down to a race loss than that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand that. If I forgot, I was about to ask a really good question there, and I've forgotten it because I just looked at the timetable to just make sure I was absolutely right. It's just a single header for you guys, one shot, one qualifying, one race. You're going to go for it. How will, I'm going to start with the champ, Kipo. How will you feel leading into that race? How do you deal with it?
Just a normal race for me. Just go out and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, what people don't see, that me and Adam spent a lot of time together doing the C1s in Silverstone 24 hours. So we're pretty good mates. We know each other quite well. So if he wins it, I'm happy for him. And probably vice versa as well.
Definitely.
And that's a weird one, I have to say, for me, is the fact that, you know, you're such a genuine guy, James, that you know, it was lovely that you won the championship. Your dad's a wonderful guy as well, and you know, it would be lovely to see you grab a back-to-back. But I have to say, Adam, you know that I get on great with you and your dad and your brother and everything. And there's a part of me that's going, your brother's won so many damn championships, you know, the prima donna, you know, I'm only joking, Gary. It must add something extra for you, Adam, that you really want to. Please don't take this the wrong way, because it's not meant negative. But is there a feeling of, I don't want to be a bridesmaid, I want to be the bride?
Yeah, I would love to get it. Don't get me wrong, I'd absolutely love to have it. I think this is, if it ever again, I think this is the year that someone's going to win it in a Class A. We've had a lot of top contenders out of it, like Gary and Simon. Well, obviously Simon's not in the championship thing, but we've had a lot of other quick cars there what could have that opportunity. So I think if it's going to happen this year, I think this will be the one of the years that anyone's going to do it again in a Class A. I remember the last time Gary did, I think that was said of like 10 years ago, somewhere. In a Class A. I think not, it's just because the reliability of the cars. So to have it would be amazing, and if not, then I thought probably that would be the last time I get a chance to do it. But it is what it is. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm going to try my best and try and do it cleverly. I'm not sure if it's going to rain. Someone was saying about it earlier. We've never driven the car in the rain. Damp once. We've had the wet tyres we bought. They've been sat in the trailer for the last 2 years. So that would also be an interesting thing. And I'm sure James would be right up behind me in that thing. For sure.
That's a good point. Yeah, because we have seen him.
Then I win, so that'd be
Don't say that, because this is recorded.
You're the one who got me off.
Do you get nervous though, Adam?
Yeah, I don't get nervous to race. I get nervous to do well. A couple of times when I've qualified fourth. To me, there was hardly any pressure. But the second you're on the front row, you can only go worse. You can only get, and so that's what adds it to me.
Oh wow!
If you start further back, then you can go back as well.
I get what you mean, though. Yeah,
you've got a chance of going better. If you're at the front, if you get it wrong, it can only get worse. So to me, I think there's a lot more pressure. It's only to do well, and that's all it is. I just want to do well, and I know I annoy myself if I don't do it or mess up.
I mean, both of you though have got enough experience that you know you've been here, you bought the t-shirt. It's just going to be a phenomenal day of racing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be a good final, I've got to say. I think we'll make it good for the spectators. They pay their money, so we'll give them a good show, I think.
100%. Well, listen, guys, Thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you for putting yourself out there at a time when I'm sure even in the back of your mind, you're going, I could have done with not talking about this. I just want to get on and do it. I appreciate you taking the time, guys. Best of luck to both of you.
Thank you very much.
The phrase they say is "May the best man win." I can't use that phrase. It's not appropriate. Yeah. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it. Listen, have a whale of a time and the best of luck, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. See you, James. See you guys. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much to Adam and James Keeping. So that's the championship for the saloons. It's incredibly close. We've got 20 cars due out in the saloons. Harrison Chamberlain, Dave Spiller, Tony Hutchins, Hayden King's back out again as well in Class A as well in his Seat Leon. That'll be interesting. Rob Ellick, remember he's in an Audi TT now. Adam Preble, we know. Jonathan Wills in that MG Maestro. I like this comment that Tim put up. Would be amazing to see the Rover with that Maestro. I agree. That would be really cool to see. I like that one. Just quickly say that Tim also said, good luck, guys. Gary himself, joking aside, did say good luck, guys. And you know, Gary's a racer. He'll be loving all of that. Class B, Stuart Cheeseman in his Clio and Mark Wyatt in his Astra. So he still hasn't sold it. And we're going to see Mark Wyatt out by the looks of it. Class C, James Keeping, Roger Good, Stuart Hignall, Mark Sutton. Remember the champ from 2 years. Matt Potter back out in his Peugeot 106. James Blake and Lee Waterman in their MG ZRs. Class D, we're up to 3 of them, as we know, because as well as Mike Good and Anthony Weeks, we got Nick Mizzen back out in his Fiesta. I'm so chuffed to see that. In terms of the championship, if you haven't seen it already, is that you've got Adam Preble. Oh, it's a bit dark down here. I need a lamp here. But Adam Preble's on 66 points. James Keeping is on 62. We can't fully discount. Tony Hutchins is on 57 with his Audi TT, but you know, even he will know it's a big, big arse there, but you never, ever know. He could do something there. And James Blake, 48. Lee Waterman, 47. Anthony Weeks, sorry, I didn't look far enough down with my torch there. Anthony Weeks is on 55 as well in Class D, and he's up to 3 in that running in that class. So you never know. It's going to be interesting. So they've got a one shot for that one. In terms of the Formula Fords, that's still to be decided yet as well. I was hoping that we might have got the 2 main protagonists up, but they didn't nibble. They didn't go for it. But Felix Fisher and Luke Cooper separated by 1 point at the moment. Now, they've got a double header. They've got 2 races this weekend, and the Cooper camp, as we'll call them, they kind of make a key point that once drop scores taken into account, which means I need to do some quick maths on this at some point, is that Felix is in the pound seats. Luke Cooper will be hoping to add to his title tally again, but unbelievably, would you believe it, this would be Felix's first. It's another one like Adam in reality, is that you sit there and go, there's a driver that deserves it. But Luke Cooper is wonderful. He just keeps fighting. He's doing so well, and there's only 1 point between the 2 of them. Felix has already won Class A, 92 points compared to 83. Kieran Atwood sat 3rd overall and 3rd in the class. Absolutely amazing job that Kieran Atwood is super impressive this year for me personally. Just quickly catching up on the messages. Tim Perry says, yay, the yellow Astra. Absolutely. Andy Abrams, great to see Nick Mizzen out again this weekend. I persuaded him to come to Donington for our final Classic Touring Car Club meet. Can't wait. I'm hosting the Classic Touring Car Club awards due in January as well. But he's out there October 22nd, 23rd. Don't worry, we'll look after him. I know you will. And Sharon Ballard, good luck, guys. We'll be watching from Grenada. So Rob's not out. I missed that because he's not racing, is he? That's a shame. I won't see you guys. But you won't be watching. You'll be watching the timing screen and listening to us, won't you? Sorry, it's still us, Shaz. But we'll keep you entertained. So, yeah, Formula Ford. Nathan Ward is 4th overall in the standings in a Class B car. Absolutely amazing job. And he's already secured Class B. Class C has already been secured by David Cobbold. Class D, there's only 4 points in that at the moment between Ben Mitchell and Alan Slater. Now, what is Ben Mitchell out? He is out in the Class D, so he's trying to get that one sorted, and he is against Alan Slater, so he's trying to tie up that Class D championship there. Who have we got racing in the Formula Fords? Luke Cooper, Nigel Dolan in a Van Diemen JL12K. Elliot Budzinski in an Ammonite Motorsport Ray GR22. So that's a new car, isn't it? Vincent J has entered as well. Late entry in his Rapid Hire Services Ray GR21. Felix Fisher, Tom Hawkins, Kieran Atwood, William Ferguson in another Ammonite Motorsport car. Stephen Billett. It's good to see Stephen back out again as well in his Wiltshire College and University Centre Spectrum. Chris Acton, the pilot. Alicia Hamlin. Andrew Higginbottom in a Wayne Poole racing car. Adam Higgins back out in his car again. We didn't see him in the last race, but we saw him 2 events ago in his new Van Diemen JL15. He says nearly identical to the one that won him the championship. Certainly the last championship. In fact, I think he won multiple championships in the same car. Apologies, Adam. I should know, and I will be able to know in due course. But still tinkering with that. When he got it, it was a mess. The people had done some crazy things with it. And honestly, he was telling me the stories. It was unbelievable. So he's still tinkering with it. Watch out for Adam next year. Thomas, I need to work out how to pronounce this, Schraeg in another Ammonite Motorsport Ray. Class B, Nathan Ward, Richard Higgins. Good to see Richard's back again in his Van Diemen RF91. Paul Mason, Sam Street. Michael Phillips in Class C alongside Richard Earl, David Cobbold, Stephen Bracegirdle. And in Class D, we've got Alan Slater, Ben Mitchell. Emma Brown, who, of course, looks after that series, says going to be 2 close races. Looking forward to it. You're not wrong. And Emma Strawford says the Ammonite guys were testing today. Gather it all went well. Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Keepo. See you on Saturday, mate. Thank you very much for that, buddy. Just seeing your message. You take it steady. So that is the Formula Fords. As I say, double header, and that is going to be incredible for the Formula Ford guys. GTs has already been wrapped up. Kevin Bird, well done to Kevin. He's already won that. His new car to him this year as well, that Porsche 991 Carrera Cup car. The very local driver, Westonbert. He has already won it. His Class C car, 45 points overall. His nearest rival is Jamie Sturgis in his Class D car. He is back out in his Golf TCR. He's trying to secure that second, but only 2 points behind him is Ruben Taylor in the Peugeot 206 Silhouette car. I said that Ruben Taylor has been going well. He's going to try and get second in that championship, but he'll need to do better than Jamie Sturgis in their respective classes. Class B for Ruben Taylor, Class D for Jamie Sturgis. Doug Watson's not out of it completely. Maybe he is. 23 points, probably a bit too far behind. But again, he's done brilliant. Remember, him and Keith Butcher finished second and third respectively last year. Or was it class wins? Forgive me. I can't remember exactly what it was. In terms of entry list, Dylan Popovich back out in his Ginetta G50. Great to see. Craig Dolby's going to be out in that Volvo S60. Awesome. Perry Wadhams is going to be out in his TVR Cigaris. I hope he is, because he's been entered a few times and then not quite managed to make it. But hopefully we'll see him out in his TVR Cigaris. Matthew Brennan in the Ford Escort. Swindon driver, local to me, in Class B, alongside Tim Woodman in his Caterham 7. Good to see him back. Last time I saw Tim, he had an almighty issue with the car at Thruxton. So hopefully that's sorted. And that obviously Ruben Taylor in his Peugeot 206 Silhouette car. Class C, David Harrison in another Porsche 991. Great to see. Jordan Billington, Lamborghini Gallardo GT3, just starting to get himself back into his confidence again. Keith Butcher in the Audi R8. Doug Watson in the Ferrari 458. Kevin Bird, of course, in the championship winning Porsche 991 Carrera Cup. And Class D, we got Keith Johnson in his Ginetta G50 GT4 and Jamie Sturgis in the Golf TCR. Really exciting things with the GT is that Charles Hyde Andrews Bird, Chab, has set up a new GT Championship Facebook page. They've got their own WhatsApp group as well. Really trying to engage the group there, because we get some phenomenal kit out there. We got 13 cars at the moment. Hopefully we might get a few late entries. Just amazing kit. And there's been some wonderful races this year in the GTs. I don't care what anyone says. There have been some fabulous races at the front. Yeah, I've always said it only takes 2 to make a race. And we've certainly had 3 great ones. The hot hatches. Now, remember, the hot hatches, we've actually got a lunch grid walk as well. For those, and it's a double header. Sadly, we lost their race on the last race meet because we had that very serious accident up in towards Quarry Corner, And even with everything else being cut, you'll see it took us right to curfew. So there was not a chance. I think they could have had a 2-minute race maybe if they were lucky. And it's just terrible. It's something had to give. And they've got a double header now. Selfishly, I'm dead chuffed. We'll have them on the grid for the lunch parade, so get yourself there early so that you can walk out on the grid. We'll hopefully do some walking and talking. We're going to also have sponsor Motor out there, and I'll grab a word with someone from there. And I think we've got a couple of the key charities that should be coming out for us to grab a word with as well. So when you're on that grid, I'll speak to as many of you as I possibly can. In terms of entry lists, 36 cars. 36 cars are going to be on this hot hatch grid. Let's have a look. So Class A, Mike Wyatt, hold the fort. I didn't look at this until now. Will De Claudio is out in a Renault Clio. It's not a Peugeot. I feel like he's cheating now, really. But Will De Claudio is out in a WAS Racing. Of course, that's his company. He's out racing. Fantastic Class E car. Julian Fisher in his Fiesta. Robert Watson in his Clio. Owen Hillman, great to see the Pro Alloys Racing Civic is out. Of course, they race in the Civic Cup. Well, Owen's going to be out racing in the hot hatches. Michael Bland, brilliant. He's out in his 306, that bright, luminous yellow Peugeot 306. He's going to be out. Jamie Bigwood in his Clio. John Barnard in his WAS Racing Clio. Lewis Clark in his Fiesta. Jonathan Fish in the Clio. Alexander Baldwin in the Civic. And the last car in Class A at the moment is Corey Wolfrey in his Clio. Class B, we've got Benjamin Hart in the MGZR, Sean Goverd in the Citroen AX. Don't worry, Sean, I'm not going to tell you who runs that car. Ray Ferrari Nut Ferguson is out in his MGZR. Amelia Vincent in the Clio, the Wiltshire College and University Centre Clio. Look forward to seeing that. Jake Olden back out in his Saxo. Brilliant to see. The Wilks are out in the Peugeot 106. Peter and Adam, it looks like they're probably going to do a race apiece. The Orpington driver's out in that 106 GTI, which from memory was Tony Cooper's old car. So look forward to seeing what they're going to do. Apologies if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Mark Davies in the Citroen Saxo. Sorry, we've moved on to Class C. Jake Olden, Peter and Adam Wilkes. Mark Davies in the Saxo. Sean Deacon in that obscenely quick 106 GTI. Joe Hathaway, we heard him say earlier that hopefully he's got the problem sorted and is up onto more than just 3 cylinders, and that Saxo will go quick. Mark Pope in his Ford Puma. I do have a chuckle, Mark Pope, at your Facebook post, setting the world to right down there in Cornwall. Into Class D, just on his own at the moment. I said it, Craig Tompkinson. I don't know if you're still listening on your drive home, mate, but he's out in the Suzuki Swift. Class E, we got Paul and Lewis Bird out in Mini Coopers, separate Mini Coopers. Grant Motorsport running those guys, which is great to see. Lewis run by Mario's Fish Bar. I might have to check that one out at some point. Simon Fisher in his Mini Cooper. Oh, there's no point saying Mini Cooper. We know Class E, sorry, is Mini Coopers. I'll shut up about that now. Simon Fisher, Paul Dickinson, Darren Duffield, Gareth Haycock, James Canfer, Stephen Waite, and Gary Frank. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Class E minis. That is what we've been building for on that Class E. Absolutely brilliant to see. Class F, Tony Cooper out in his Civic. Brilliant to see that Tony's going to be out. Been trying to get that car ready. And Craig Fleming out in the Civic as well. Chris Southcott in. You won't know where Chris Southcott is based because his bus is camouflaged. Granted, it's a luminous yellow camouflage, but hey, you can't see him, right? And Sam Stride. Good to see Sam Stride out in the Civic as well. So that Class F is going to be incredible. I mean, 36 cars and 36 amazing cars as well. Tim Perry says, yeah, Will De Claudio and my mate Julian Fisher, massive grid, isn't it just? I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. I think that kind of covers everything that we needed to cover. I had a few, as Emma Strawford calls them brilliantly, Paris notices. I think I've covered all of those as well. Don't forget, the action gets underway. Qualifying 8:30 a.m. The Monoposto start the action off on Saturday morning. For anybody who's watching this, if you haven't got tickets, do not panic. You can buy entry on the gates. It's not a problem. I know that question gets asked every race meet on social media. No, it's fine. You can pay on the gate. It's not a problem. Get yourself in. Let's have a hell of a day. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant day. Emma Strawford shouts, go Amelia as well. absolutely, it's going to be the case. John Mitchell says, great evening's entertainment, Dawsey. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Can't make Saturday, sadly, but I did come and see the bikes on your recommendation. Good man. Excellent day. Talking of bikes, and I'm sorry I didn't get to put it up there, but I saw that Winner was watching over in Ireland. I don't know whether if you're still with us, you're probably off drinking by now, Winner, but great to see that you're over there and everything. Mike, thanks for a great show. Thank you, mate. Wasn't it good with so many good guests? It made it very tiring for me to set up and get people involved, but I think it was a great thing to get so many people involved. Don't panic. The season might be coming to a crescendo this weekend. Combe TV won't be. We'll still carry on. We're going to try and get some post-championship decider interviews. We've got various other people that we're going to get on, and even during the winter, I'm going to see if there's some not necessarily obvious guests that we're going to try and get on and just stick together. We're a family, and that's what I really, really enjoy, and it means a lot to me. Emma Brown heading down late tomorrow evening. See you all Saturday. Emma Strawford says, cheers, Dawsey boy. Not looking so dapper tonight. I was dapper Dawes on last Saturday. I'm dressed down Dawes tonight. It's all fine. Hello, Tomo. Don't forget the flamingo hat, mate. You got to remember it. Tim Perry says, thanks, Dawsey. I'm on post 1 Saturday. See you then. Post 1, I'm assuming that's on Folly then, presumably, is it? Or is it start line? I don't know. I'm guessing it's Folly. Apologies, I should know things like that. Mike Cotton, good news. I'm assuming you mean about the show. Keep going. Thank you. Appreciate it. Julie Atwood, brilliant show. Good luck, everyone, on Saturday. Don't get too nervous watching your boy, Julie. It's going to be great fun. Tim Perry says it is by start line. And even Emma knew it. Now I feel even worse. Emma knew where it was. I wondered if it was, but whether it kind of went further than that. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure to have your company. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your involvement, your comments, your questions. I know I didn't get through all of your comments and questions, but that was because we had extra guests. What did I have? 6 guests on tonight. Oh, I'm going to go. The current Mrs. Dawes did bring me a gin top-up as well, but I didn't have a chance to say thank you to her. Thank you to the current Mrs. Dawes. I shall see you all bright and breezy and really excited on Saturday. Have a fantastic Friday. I'm off to the circuit tomorrow, actually, to host the racing school as well. So if anybody's nearby, feel free to say hello. But for now, let's have one last, what am I doing? The closing sequence. And I shall see you on the weekend. Thank you. Good night.